We are at the beach today testing two cameras, the GoPro Hero Black 10 against the Akaso Brave 8. Let's see if a cheap action camera can do as well as a expensive action camera. You ready for the beach, huh? Yeah! I agree, bud. All right, welcome to another episode of Cheap versus Expensive. And today I'm looking at action cameras because one of the questions that you guys ask me most is there a cheap action camera out there that you could go buy, you don't have to spend so much money on, but maybe it's just as good as kind of the top dog action cameras that are out there. Similar, great quality, but save some money. And for today's expensive camera, we're gonna be looking at the GoPro Hero 10 versus the Akaso Brave 8. Cheap versus expensive, let's see how they compare. Before I do though, hit that like button below. It is super helpful for this channel. And today's video is sponsored by maybe one of the coolest sponsors that I could ever possibly be sponsored by, and that is Magic Spoon cereal. If you haven't heard of Magic Spoon before, they are the makers of flavors like fruity and frosted and cocoa and peanut butter. They got a whole bunch more, but these are just the 4 that they sent me. And while you might immediately think, oh, I can't eat that cereal, that's like kids cereal, check this stuff out. This Magic Spoon cereal it's healthy cereal. It has 0 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 13 grams of protein. It is gluten-free, keto-friendly, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, naturally flavored. Healthy cereal that tastes like your favorite flavors from childhood. To be fair though, I have not tried it yet. I just got these and I think I'm going for fruity. Got my oat milk here. It smells like the fruity kid cereal that we all know from a kid. It smells just like that. But does it taste like it? It's even O's. Get a little milk on there. All right, Magic Spoon fruity flavored. It tastes like kids cereal. How do they do that? It's only 150 calories per serving. I don't understand how they do it, but if you would like to, first link in the description, use my link, use my code. I think you get a discount. Okay, back into our cheap versus expensive camera comparison today, and we're looking at the Akaso Brave 8 because it's kind of Akaso's newest and best budget action camera is kind of how they position it, but it is $279, which isn't super cheap. Because when you compare it with what is the top of the line action camera on the market, the GoPro Hero 10, this thing's only $350 if you do GoPro's whole subscription model thing, where basically you just go to GoPro's site, you order it through them, you sign up for the subscription. You sign up for the subscription and you can cancel it at any point. They think their subscription is so good, they will give you a discount on a GoPro to try it. So when you look at the Akaso Brave 8, the budget action camera being $279 versus the GoPro's $349, it doesn't seem like a crazy difference. But there is a big difference in what comes with the camera. So with the GoPro, you pretty much just get the GoPro, you get a battery, and you get a cable to plug your GoPro in. Oh, you do get the cool little case. To be fair to GoPro, because I do give them a little bit of crap because nothing really comes with the GoPro. You kind of just get camera, battery, cable, but now you do get a case for it. So that's kind of cool. But with the Akaso Brave 8, it looks like from the cheap versus expensive action camera accessories video, look at everything that is in this box of stuff that they give. It's so much stuff. Zip ties, handlebar mount strap to strap it to stuff. Got a tripod adapter, and you have a 1/4-22 GoPro, so you have both of these. 2 mounts, flexi bendy piece, 2 more flexi bendy piece, a thumb screw, cable, more straps and Velcro pieces, 2 mounts, one of the normal size mounts, and then this is actually a mount that doesn't come with the GoPro, but that almost everyone should end up buying, and it's that, like, if you want to do like a chin mount situation, you need it like that so that there's enough room for the camera to sit there. If you have this normal mount with it, the camera will hit your helmet, so you need it. Anyways, all of this comes with the Akaso. And then the 2 actually important things that it comes with is it comes with 2 batteries and a dual charger in the box, which is something that I tell everyone that gets a GoPro, you should go buy that almost immediately. That's an extra $50. So now you're at $400 for the GoPro, $279 for the Akaso. And then Akaso also throws in a Bluetooth remote control to control the Akaso, which I think for GoPro is like 80 bucks. So I think I figured out that what all the Akaso comes with is it's about $500 in value from the GoPro side. So if you were to take a GoPro and you were to buy kind of at least the good stuff out of here, like you for sure want the dual charger, you for sure want the remote, you want some of these certain mounts, the bike mount, things like that. With this guy, you're about up to about $500. So really, it's $500 versus $279. And that makes this more of a cheap versus expensive comparison. Besides what comes in the box though, let's look at these two cameras actually side by side, and you can see right off the bat, the Akaso is quite a bit smaller. The Akaso, I would say in most ways, is not really trying to be like a GoPro. It's more trying to be like a DJI Osmo Action 1. Like this guy, how similar do those guys look? But they for sure went with that design style over the GoPro. They didn't try to copy a GoPro, they tried to copy the Osmo Action, but it's competing with the GoPro. Oh man, the startup sound on this thing is, hold on, let me turn it off. Wait, listen to this. You hear that? Sounds like you're like dialing into the internet in 1990. 90? When did it come out? Like 95, 96? So the Akaso is smaller, but it requires a cage to mount, very similar to the Osmo Action 1. So it doesn't have a little flip down feet like the GoPro. You gotta put it inside this cage, and once it's inside the cage, now it's pretty much the size of the GoPro. Now on this guy, we do have 3 buttons. I like that a lot. There is a mode button on the side there. So you've got power and you got record up top, and then on the side you have mode. You do have a front screen, but you have to hold the mode button to switch to it. And you can only do it while you're not recording, and I can push it again and switch back to this. All the beeps sound like a dial-up internet phone call, like dur, 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 dur. So 3 buttons on there. It does have a removable lens cover. I really appreciate that. You can pop that bad boy off. And overall, a good built camera. Like, it's not terrible build quality. One thing that does drive me crazy is this door right here. This door is where the USB-C port is and where the SD card is. But look, see, there's a switch on there, and there's you can't do both with one, like you can't press the switch down and open it. Like if you press the switch down, your finger just comes out. You have to do both at once. So you need basically 2 fingers. You have to push it down and then use your other finger to actually, you can get to the USB-C and SD card slot inside there. That it's maybe the worst designed door on any camera that I've ever seen. But compared to the GoPro Hero 10, how does it look? How does the video quality look? How does the audio sound? Like always, I'm gonna show you a bunch of clips before I tell you which camera is which. Let you try to figure out, 1, can you tell which is which? And then 2, if you can tell or if you can't tell, which one do you like better? Could you tell which was which? I feel like you could. I feel like if you see them side by side, almost right away, you're gonna say, oh, I can tell which one's the GoPro and I can tell which one's the Akaso. It looks not as good. And while that's true, while I think that the white balance in the Akaso, not as good, it's a little more washed out. The colors are a little desaturated, but almost desaturated in everything but the blue. The blues are kind of punchy, but most everything kind of has a very toned down look to it. And on its own, if you just saw this footage, if you made a whole video just with Akaso Brave 8 footage, I honestly think it looks pretty good. I was surprised. When I first started filming with this thing, I was seeing it on the back and I was like, that does look pretty good. I pulled it on the computer. I was impressed. I thought it looked pretty dang good for an action camera. The problem is just that when you line it up next to the GoPro, when you put this footage side by side and you're looking at both, you can see how much further ahead GoPro is than Akaso. As far as specs go, the Akaso can do 4K 30 and 4K 60, and then for 120 frames a second, it drops down to 2.7K. And then if you want 240 frames a second, it drops down to 1080. And then the comparison on the GoPro is that it can do 5.3K 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second. It drops to 4K for 120 frames a second, and it stays at 2.7K for 240 frames a second, which it still looks really good. 2.7K 240 is pretty awesome on the GoPro. Next I take a look at is stabilization, and Akaso they do something a little funky with stabilization. So there's two modes of stabilization that you can do on the Akaso Brave 8. So on stabilization, I can do stabilization totally off, I can do stabilization on, so just normal stabilization, or I can flip to something called super smooth. But super smooth stabilization, if you have that mode on, the only way that you can actually take advantage of that super smooth stabilization is to transfer the files first from your camera to the app, let the app process that super smooth footage, and then export it from the app, and then you can have a file that has that super smooth stabilization on it. The problem is that the GoPro's built-in Hypersmooth 4.0 is generations ahead of the Akaso Brave 8. Over to audio quality on the Akaso versus the GoPro. The GoPro is famously decent for audio. It's just all right. Like, it's good in certain situations. If there's no wind, maybe you're indoors or something like that, the GoPro, it does sound pretty good. If you put the media mod on there with the built-in mic on that thing, it even sounds a little better. But in most windy situations, it really starts breaking down, and you hear a lot of that wind noise crackle. Now, on the Akaso Brave 8, it's worse.
We are at the beach today, testing two cameras, the GoPro Hero Black 10 against the Akaso Brave 8. It's like 70 degrees, but it's windy, and for Californians, that's just cool. Hey, her jacket and your jacket? Okay, I'll grab them. It's like 70 degrees, but it's windy, and for Californians, that's just cool. Hey, her jacket and your jacket? Okay, I'll grab them.
And then the last thing that is pretty interesting to look at is the Akaso can shoot 48 megapixel photos. This is the Akaso photo versus the GoPro's 23 megapixel photo, and I think again, the Akaso's photo, if you just saw that photo and you did maybe some editing to it, these are both straight out of camera. So if you did some editing to the Akaso photo, I think you probably could make it look pretty decent. Like you would shoot that photo, you'd pull it into post, do some tweaking, and be like, hey, great photo. The problem is, again, if we put them side by side on the screen, you're looking at what the Akaso is putting out. Those 48 megapixels, they don't look as good as the 23 megapixels, because that's the thing about megapixels. Megapixels is probably the most misleading metric when it comes to a camera's quality. I tried really hard in this comparison to figure out things where the Akaso was better than the GoPro. And honestly, the only thing I can come up with is price. It is cheaper. You get a lot in the box. You get the dual charger with 2 batteries. You get the remote control. I would definitely want those. I would want a few of these mounts, like a few of these mounts. I like that guy, I like that guy. The cable is helpful. You get a lot for the Akaso. And again, I think that if you compare it to the GoPro, you're probably looking somewhere in the $420 range to $500 range, depending if that remote matters to you. And over here, you're looking at $279 for all of this. I wanna end it with this. This is a good camera. If you have $279 and you go buy this camera, I think you're gonna be able to create some really cool stuff. If at all, you could either wait and save up for this guy, or maybe buy like the Hero 9 or Hero 8. I think it's a better decision if quality matters to you. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. We will do more of these cheap versus expensive videos in the future, because I get a lot of questions about people trying to find kind of that budget option. And in some scenarios, the budget option is the better option. But in this one, if it was me, if I had to choose, I would save up my money and buy a GoPro. Tell me what you would buy in the comments below. I'll see you guys soon. I'm gonna go eat more of this cereal because they sent me 4 boxes. Which means I'm gonna eat a bunch of cereal this week. I could easily eat 4 boxes of cereal in a week. No problem. It's so good. All right, I'll see you guys soon.